Welcome to the Angler's Wisdom Podcast,
supercharged by Amped Outdoors Lithium.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period.
catch more fish,
Learn tips, tricks,
techniques, and secrets, and decades of angler's wisdom. Welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah! Yeah! Oh!
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah!
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Angler's Wisdom Podcast, where every cast is an opportunity, every trip is a lesson, and every episode brings you insights from some of the best in the business. If you're tuning in live, we're so glad you're here. This is your chance to join the conversation, ask questions, and get real-time answers from our expert guests. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to inspire, educate, and help you become the angler you always wanted to be. Today we have Dustin Hoy joining us. Dustin is the owner and operator of Raccoon Creek Outfitters. He is also a ACA certified river instructor, and he's been in the paddle sports for, I believe, over 20 years. So let's go ahead and bring Dustin on. How you doing today, Dustin?
I'm doing great, man. How you guys all doing?
Doing real good. Thanks for joining the show.
Man, thanks for having me. This is incredible to be here with you guys.
Oh yeah. I'm just a little bit jealous because I'm here close to Lake Erie. I believe I seen Lake Erie was 93% frozen, and I looked at it today, and I would say it's probably pretty close to 100%. But you're down in Florida right now. So
I'm in sunny Florida fishing the Kayak Adventure Series that Drew Gregory puts on down here with a great group of guys.
Nice.
Ready to hit the water in the morning. So
yeah, that's pretty interesting what he has going on over there. It's not just a tournament, right? It's kind of like a whole weekend event, a little bit of a festival, right? Go ahead.
It does. Typically starts off Wednesday night with a dinner, hanging out. Then today was our kind of opening ceremonies. Everybody kind of hanging out, getting our identifiers, getting all of our, basically getting everything in order to be able to hit the tournament tomorrow. So tournament starts tomorrow at 3 and runs until 7. It's something new that nobody else really kind of does, that evening bite. So,
right. Yeah, that's
it's kind of unique.
Then it goes, Saturday and Sunday?
No, just Saturday.
So half a day on Friday.
Yep, and he sets it up that way. The anglers, it's easier for anglers to take a Friday off work,
right,
and be able to fish a tournament. And even if you can't make it here on Friday, you're only missing a couple hours of the tournament. And then you got all day Saturday. Then Sunday, if you're making a long track, you can always get back home, rest up, and be able to go back to work on Monday. So with a lot of the 2-day events, you finish up at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. If you make the ceremony, sometimes it might be 7, 8 o'clock at night. And right. Then you're trying to drive 13 hours back home to be at work on Monday. So it makes things a lot more difficult. So
yeah, it sounds fun being on the road and doing some of these tournaments, but you hear something like that, and it definitely puts everything into perspective how exhausting we are at the end of vacation.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's work. I tell a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, it looks so much fun." And it's like, it is, but it's still work. I mean, you're up at daybreak. You're usually on the water by daybreak and off sometimes in the dark.
Oh yeah, but the cool thing is he's got it structured so that there's more interaction off the water, right? Like there's
Exactly.
a little bit of an event. I know he's had vendors and stuff like that at previous ones and things for the kids, and then he has that almost like a film festival on day 3, right, on Sunday when the award ceremony.
It's on Saturday of the award ceremony. He does it all in like these really old like theaters, so it kind of gives you that really neat kind of historical kind of view on stuff. And a lot of the towns just kind of open everything up for his welcome as an angler in. That's really kind of cool. Georgia was last year. Georgia is probably one of my favorite tournaments. They had an old speakeasy bar that they opened up. They actually brought in a little grill. The owner cooked for us. I mean, how neat was that? Just to find an old like hidden bar from back in the Prohibition days. So
yeah, that's the stuff that I really enjoy when I travel, is just going to the hidden gems, the spots that nobody really knows about or nobody really talks about, and just getting to experience that. So it's really cool that he's incorporated that into it. One of these days I'll definitely make it to one of the events.
He's going to be in Ohio in June. I think it's in June this year, so that could be
as long as
Central Ohio.
As long as I'm not, it's not a weekend with the Lake Erie Walleye Trail, we can.
Oh, there you go.
We might be able to work that out.
Yeah, come down and just hang out. So
I guess we might as well get in this show, and we'll do another episode with about the Kayak Adventure series and do more of a deep dive in that. But I think it's a really cool thing that he's doing, and if he's coming to your area, or if you have the opportunity to check it out, definitely go out there, show some love, maybe compete, or just enjoy the adventure. So before we dive in, why don't you just give us a little bit of a background of you and kind of like what led you to opening up Raccoon Creek Outfitters, and what's driven you to turn it into one of the top paddling shops in the country.
Basically, I got into kayak fishing kind of late high school era. Before that, I was fishing out of a John boat some. I was wade fishing creeks, little rivers, anything I can get in the water, try to catch a fish. And I was introduced to kayaking a little bit. I worked at a kayak shop back in just out of high school. And it was one of them, I think it was a 2001, I think is when I started working in and we did rentals, all that kind of stuff. And being able to take a rental out and actually fish out of it was pretty neat. It was just like, oh, here's a way I can access these hidden places that I can't get to by foot or, without trespassing across people's properties and everything else. Here's a way to, access these hidden gems. And the passion just kind of grew from there. So, and then my wife and I decided after some years of working construction and other jobs that, hey, that's kind of where our passion's at, is the outdoors, running a kayak shop, running the rentals and the campgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So
just putting a smile on people's face.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just something about it. It's people come to you. It's not like going to the grocery store and buying, $100 worth of groceries, and you walk out with a little bag full of groceries. You feel just kind of left out.
Right.
So,
yeah, I know every time I come visit, it's, I leave definitely recharged, not just the shop, but I forget how many acres you have there, but lots of places to camp and just, enjoy the weekend. You can get hop on a rental or bring your own kayak and, hit Raccoon Creek and just, kind of get away from the stress of the inner city and our crazy lives these days, right?
That's it. And one of the fun parts about it, most people, it bothers them at first, but my wife and I really kind of enjoy it, is we don't have a whole lot of phone service there. As you've noticed.
Right.
But you notice after just a little bit of time, people are talking and they're holding conversations, and the kids put their phones and their tablets down because they can't access the internet, and they're out playing in the yard and they're playing football and they're out climbing trees and doing all the things that we should do anyways. Just experience nature, experience all that stuff, and just unplug. So
yeah, I agree. I remember Julia hopping on your four-wheeler and ripping through the woods, and I was looking around for Brian. I'm like, where's Brian? We walk outside and look up, and he's up on the second level, sticking his head out of the what do they call that? The hay door on the top.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a great place.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of turning the upstairs into a showroom. That's going to be additional showroom space.
Oh, cool.
We brought on some extra manufacturers this year, so having that extra space for gear and kayaks and stuff is really good.
Yeah, you don't just have fishing kayaks, right? You also have like recreational boats and whitewater boats and stuff.
We do. We have some whitewater. We're getting in a lot more into. It's one of my big passions this year. Our drives is going to be the wreck lines. We brought on North Star Canoes, which is just a premier canoe company. And then you got Eddy Line. We've got Liquid Logic. Liquid Logic's got everything from whitewater to some really, really nice, comfortable wreck lines. So, and the price points are there. I mean, somebody can get into a really nice, comfortable kayak for just a few $100. So you don't have to go out and spend thousands to have something that's comfortable, stable, and that you actually enjoy being on the water in. So,
right. And that's, in my opinion, that's one of the most important things is, finding somebody like yourself that is going to fit you into the right boat for you and not just, what they want to sell for the day, or, what makes the most money. Because I don't know, in my opinion, at the end of the day, if you provide a customer with what is perfect for them, instead of just maybe what you can fit, you're earning a customer for life, right?
Exactly.
I mean, one sale is nothing, right? We're not here to well, obviously we have to make money, right? But at the end of the day, it's more like a family. And that's what I've experienced anytime that I've been around you guys or came out to Raccoon Creek Outfitters, is just, that family environment where, you go and you talk, I say talk business, but you talk kayak fishing and rigging and all that good stuff and just have a good time.
Something my wife and I always say, or she says a lot. She's kind of brought it to light. Is you come as a customer and you leave as family, and it's just that. We have so many friends that's in our circle anymore that we met through the shop that were customers. I mean, they walked in to look at gear or a paddle or a new kayak, something like that. And then that's life.
Right. And that picture you just seen with the whitewater, that is not Raccoon Creek, unfortunately. But you're, I know one, if not both of your daughters are whitewater guides now.
Just my youngest, Melina. She was a whitewater guide down in North Carolina on the French Broad. I believe possibly she's going to be working for Ace this year. They're in West Virginia working on the new, and possibly even the Golly. Is kind of her drive. So no, most of our family is very outdoorsy, into the water sports, into all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, as a parent myself, I think it's really cool just seeing your kids kind of following the footsteps of mom and dad, and you know, not doing what makes the most money or what everybody thinks they should do, but just following their passion. You know, at the end of the day, if we're happy in life and you know, we have good people around us, nothing else matters, right?
100%. I mean, that's definitely how we kind of raised our kids. Is if everything's kind of taken care of, you don't have to get rich. It's not about getting rich. It's about enjoying life. You get to bed at night and you did something good. It's a good day. So
Absolutely. You know, it's there's a poem. I won't go through the whole poem. If you guys want to, you know, look at it or find it, just type in "man in the glass" into Google. And basically the premise of the poem is, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what you achieve or fail at or anything, the only thing that matters is that person that's staring back at you in the mirror. You know, that's the judgment that, you know, that you got to worry about. That's the advice that you need to take, right?
Yep.
And you know, while we're kind of talking about family and all that stuff, I just wanted to take a second to you know, share condolences for your wife and you. I know Bobby's just lost her dad a couple of days ago, so she's having a rough time. You know, I've lost a parent. I know what that's like. Unfortunately, she's lost both. So
yeah, she's taking it rough, understandably, but she's a very strong person. I feel bad. I'm down here in Florida, and she's in Ohio. So,
well, if I know Bobby, she would probably kick your butt if you left. And
yeah, we were
home.
Yeah, I flew down on Monday, and we were back and forth on Sunday. Me staying, me flying down. She was going to be mad at me if I stayed, and I knew if I didn't stay, I'd feel bad because I wasn't there. So it's just, but definitely thank you for that, and everybody else's the prayers and thoughts that are sent towards us. It's been good for her.
Yeah, you know, everything in life is a lesson, right? And you know, at the end of the day, you just share your love and your passion, have empathy, and you know, try to brighten other people's day, just like 100%. You guys do.
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to come down to Raccoon Creek Outfitters, describe what they would experience, just kind of like the whole thing. You know, maybe they've never been there before, and they want to come down and maybe buy a rod holder, but they don't really understand what all you offer and what opportunities are there.
Taking words from a couple other, Robert Walker, Reed Carpenter, you come to our place and it's country. That country atmosphere that you expect to have when you pull in, you see an old barn. Our shop is actually an old cattle barn. So when you pull in, you see an old barn with kayaks and stuff piled up around it. It's just like, oh, this is country. But you walk in, and we have one of the biggest selections of Yak Attack accessories in probably the state. And we have tons of Yak Gadget accessories and other stuff. I mean, it's just basically, if you kind of name it, we probably have it. If not, we can get it. So, but I'm pretty old school. A lot of shops this day and age are going more, hey, you want that? Oh, we can order that in for you. We can have it shipped to you. With being old school, I like being able to walk in, put my hands on it, touch it, and walk out the door with it.
I agree. You know, when I was in retail, I was a firm believer you can't sell what you don't have.
Yep.
You know, and it's a lot harder to say, hey, I don't have it in stock, but give me your money, and in 2-3 weeks, I'll get it to you. Which sometimes that happens, you know, especially with
it does.
You know, deliveries and transportation, all that stuff. But
yeah, and some people, I mean, if you want like a Pacific collar, you know, and guarantee we keep somewhere around 100 kayaks plus in stock almost year round. Sometimes if you want that Pacific collar, you know, somebody could have came in the week before and bought it.
Right.
So,
or like it was the Bonafide, the limited edition with the Black Widow and those other ones.
Yep.
I remember, you know, it's funny because the one that I personally would love was not the one that, you know, the majority would buy. So I can't even imagine trying to figure out which ones to keep in stock. I remember there was a couple colors, couple layouts that didn't really move very fast, and there was, I think, the Black Widow, and there was another one that you
the
couldn't
Fusion
stock. Yeah.
Yeah, the Black Widow definitely, hands down, is probably one of the best selling kayaks still to date. And then the Fusion was probably right there with it.
Yeah, it was.
And then
I wish I had a picture to pop up for you guys.
Yeah, I still got my Black Widow. I got one for myself too. So, but yeah, another really close run with those boats. Believe it or not, it was a Crescent Shoaly. Crescent makes a great boat. Jay Brown says the Honda Orange was always a great option too.
Oh yeah,
those old school collars, you can't beat them.
Looks like we got the Angler's Wisdom light on, so that means we have a question from the audience.
All right.
Let's see, what do we have? Is there camping on Raccoon Creek?
There is. No overnight camping. We have campgrounds right there at our site on the creek side. So yeah, you can actually do one of our trips, paddle right to your campsite, drive, up a little sandy beach right into your campsite if you want to, or play around in the creek all night and fish, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and there's a couple different settings. So like if you have small kids, or maybe you don't want to be in the woods in the middle of the night, there's a big open field that people can camp in, and there's also campsites way back in the woods. I remember one time I stopped and there was a bachelor party that weekend back there. Just a bunch of young guys celebrating and making memories and mistakes, right?
100%. Yep.
Awesome. So you're down there doing a tournament now. What is your go-to kayak setup for tournament day? And I know you're frequently changing because you want to get those experience, the experience in different boats and different setups and stuff. And I believe that's the one you're running now, right? With the the
Yep,
Graphics Guru's Fresh Coast Outdoors wrap on it.
it is. Yeah, Adam did just a sick job on that wrap. I called him up and said, "Hey, I want to do a wrap on my boat." Seen a picture, and he's just like, "I already got it designed." He's like, "This is for you," and it just fits. It fits the boat. It fits me. I think it definitely kind of knocked it out of the park. But that's my lake kayak. It's set up with 2 graphs. I've got onboard charging, live scope. I run the Motor Guide XI3 on the front, Z Pro battery on the back to charge everything. So it's one of them that it's a great lake boat, super stable, and it's the Bonafide PWR 129. That boat it's super friendly. Everything from being able to rig it, you can rig it however you want. Really simple to decking it all out. It's got tons of cutaway plates, so you don't have to drill a bunch of holes in your kayak or anything else. So that makes it really nice. And it also paddles. Even if you just, you put a motor up, get into shallow water or something like that, you can grab the paddle and it still paddles really nice. So it's kind of that nice all-purpose boat. And then I also have the Bonafide RVR, which is my creek river boat. And I think I sent you a picture of it. Maybe not. But that boat there, I keep it super simple, super clean. I'm running the Torquedo 1103 on the back of it. And no graphs. It's just slide it in the water, good fish. And that's my Black Widow right there.
Yeah.
But with my Torquedo and stuff on the back. So, but yeah, it's just
was the PWR 129, is that the one that you brought down for last time we went steelhead fishing?
Yeah. Yep.
I thought so. But that was before the wrap.
Yeah, it was right before the wrap.
And, like just a shameless plug. I'm not affiliated with Graphics Gurus or anything. I just know them, and I know that they're artists, and I know their work. They're actually the ones that wrapped the Old Town Big Water with the big walleye on years back. And,
really?
And they made the banner, the backdrop for my booth. So if you're in the Michigan area, definitely check those guys out. And one thing about those wraps, like mine, it just took the abuse. It's a thick vinyl, so it's not just going to look like crap, a few weeks afterwards. Mine's 4 years old, and it still looks pretty nice.
Yeah, that one there, that picture was half season, so it was been beat up against rocks. It's been up against trees. It's I'm not easy on anything. And the wrap held up. It holds up very well. So
now I just noticed that's a fish, right? I see the head right here.
Yep.
Like a bone.
It's a little bit of like a dragon head on it, like the old school. Yeah, this is like an old Native American type.
It's pretty cool.
Almost like a dragon or like a wolf type totem pole, I guess is what I was looking for.
Right.
So.
And speaking of steelhead, Dustin still needs some steelhead redemption.
He does.
Last time, anybody that's fished steelhead know that they're pretty crazy fish, and just like with a lot of fast and big species, everything has to go right. And I think last time you were out, it was a Steelhead 3 Dustin 0.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty fair bet. Yeah, it didn't, and it was and it was funny. It's just simple, stupid mistakes and rookie mistakes. I mean, it's just like the one I hooked up, I turned around, shut my motor off, and gave it all kinds of slack. Like, oh, here, swim off. It just, and I knew better. As soon as I did it, it was already just too late. So,
yeah, it's funny. We look at them like they're rookie mistakes, but it's mistakes that we all make occasionally, especially with steelhead, because if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And, if you make just the slightest mistake, they'll open up that treble hook and turn your split ring into a W.
yeah, real quick.
Yeah. So it's,
it's definitely on my redemption list.
Oh yeah. As soon as it melts.
Then the other fish that is on my list that it's evaded me for a few years now is I want to catch a sailfish out of my kayak.
Oh yeah.
I've been out several times. Ended up catching a 40-pound amberjack in my kayak, which was Yep, that fish there. It was just an incredible fish. 45 minutes of fighting, so it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, as soon as the ice burns off, which I don't know, I'm starting to lose hope. Every time I go look at the lake, it's frozen more. and Brian, my dog, he just thinks, oh, the lake's frozen. He's just trying to walk to Canada or something. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yep, he's out of here. And say ice fishing.
So I seen something pop up about conservation. I wanted to kind of talk about community and conservation and that kind of stuff. So RCO is all about community.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep that family feel while also running a business?
It's tough. No, it's one of them that it takes a family. I mean, hands down, that's our shop is a family. Everything from my wife, everything she does with the shop. Both of my girls work the shop. They've jug boats. They've done all of it. We've got two guys that work for us, Justin Turner and Brett Chumley. Brett used to own a shop up in Columbus, and he's moved out. He actually lives on site, and it's just that family atmosphere.
Yeah, Brett always looks at home. I was trying to find those pictures that he's always posting, from like morning or the sunset from Raccoon Creek, but I couldn't find them. But it's pretty cool.
Yep. And then they even stretch out into like our fishing team. We've got team members all over Ohio. We got Dave Omar up in Pennsylvania. And it's such a unique atmosphere. I mean, I don't even know how it all come together, but it works. We had the Columbus Fishing Show, was a couple weekends ago, and we were sitting around afterwards. We were in a hotel. Everybody goes to the hotel, hangs out, has a few drinks, eats dinner with us as a team. And one of our guys asked me, he's like, "That's the Motley Crew right there." Yeah. But yeah, they asked me, they was like, "How do you pull this all together?" This is like, I didn't. It's just, we gave it a little bit of food, a little bit of fuel, and it just grown. So.
Oh yeah, it's so hard to do everything yourself, and anybody that thinks that they can actually do it all themselves. One day you'll learn. It's just impossible, so it's important having that dream or having that team. And there's your wife. That was actually that was on the New River, right after
It was.
the Burnsville trip. We stopped there and did a cleanup, and there's a couple more pictures in there too.
Yeah, we went down to, was it Timmy Dixon's on the New River, and my wife and I, Brett, and it was just it was fun. I'd say any way I can explain it it's such a great feeling to help get all that debris, everything out of the creek, out of the river. But it's also fun. It was great seeing my wife on the water, and she was all smiles and kept dragging more stuff out, and it was just it's good stuff.
She found a kayak one time, right?
Yep.
She was it was so cool. There was probably 15 or 20 of us there, and you had brought in the canoe because it could fit so much.
Yep.
And we got to the bottom of the run. Everybody was loaded down. I think we pulled, I don't know, 5 or 6 kayaks out of there, a bunch of other debris that had, washed down, maybe some parts from some of the campers and stuff. But those are probably some of the best memories, right? Like even better than fishing trips. It's just that the camaraderie and the just the pure joy of giving back to to the water and the outdoors.
Yep. And helping the community. I mean, we've been in situations that we needed help. The community came together mind-blowingly. I mean, it was kind of breathtaking, actually, the amount of people in the community that reached out, wanted to help, and did help. So being able to be in a situation to give back, even as simple as going down doing a big river cleanup, in another state, even. It's getting the communities together, and the paddle sport world is so small. You would think it's this massive, nobody knows anybody, but over the years I've been in it, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
I've got friends all over the country. I've seen Jay Brown. I made a couple comments on there. He's up in Canada. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, that wide net that you kind of throw out there of just friends and people in the paddle sports community. So,
yeah, it really is pretty incredible.
Yeah. One of the other guys I've seen on here from the River Rats group out of Columbus, Jeff. That group there is just absolutely phenomenal too. They've been a huge part of helping us kind of build our business. And they're a little bit more whitewater rec group. They do a lot of rec paddling, but also some whitewater on like the Olentangy. They do other areas. So that's a really neat, kind of unique group too. So, but if you're in Columbus looking for somebody to paddle with, hands down, that's just an absolutely phenomenal group. So,
and Ohio has some really nice whitewater in it, right?
In spots, yeah. I mean, if the water's conditions are right, there's some really fun stuff. There's also some really dangerous areas that people try to run that, without the skill sets. So,
yeah, if you're looking to get into whitewater, definitely check out the River Rats, and even I just had it, keel haulers.
Yeah. Yep.
Get out there with somebody experienced. Like my first time on whitewater was actually at the end of the trip on the New River on the lower.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I didn't have any experience, so I followed right behind Wade Clemens because he had the experience, and I knew I could learn something.
Yeah. Wade's a great paddler, especially on the new. He knows that section very, very well. I have a little bit of a background in whitewater too. I paddled whitewater for a few years, and kind of wish I got into it a little bit more. But and that's actually part of our creek family right there. It's my daughter guiding that raft.
Yeah.
I got a couple nieces in there and some other family from our people that become family. They came, like I said, they came as customers and they became family. We do trips together and everything else. So Tessa and Jason was the adults and stuff in there too. So
Yeah, you look at that picture and you can't just not smile.
exactly.
Your daughter's back there having the time of her life, and everybody else, they're living for it.
Yep.
So that brings us to our next question. Tell us about one of the most memorable moments with either a customer or a fishing partner on the water.
Well, I've got a lot. Probably most memorable. That's a tough one. Just for the fact that I've been blessed with so many people on the water that it's really kind of hard to narrow down, hey, this person here.
Yeah, they all kind of hold just different parts, right? That's
exactly. Yep.
I was just thinking, if somebody asked me that question, I don't know if I could answer it, because there's so many different memorable things that it's just little pieces.
Yep. And everybody, it's so unique because everybody has their story. From the people that's just getting into it, they come in and, I want to paddle this kind of water. And you start talking to them, it's like, we rented kayaks and we've been here. It's like, I've been here myself. To the tournament angler that has had 15 boats and he's looking for his next brand new ride, and he's going to trick it out with tons and tons of wild stuff putting on it. But hearing everybody's story, I think, is kind of my favorite parts of it, is listen to how they got involved in it, to where they want to go in it. I mean,
right.
We had a customer, Dustin, that comes in, and I sold him a wreck boat it was a Crescent Crew. And he took his daughter out, paddled it a little bit, and then decided he wanted to get into the whitewater stuff. And he just took a big change from going wreck to now he's paddled whitewater with his daughter, which is cool because I've had both of my daughters on whitewater.
Oh, yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and probably one of my favorite memories, it was a few years after we opened. We had a guy come in, his name's Sammy, and he came in, had a campsite booked, and we got a bunch of high water. And he ran the River Rats Society group for a while, or he started it. And he showed up and was just like, I got this big campsite. I mean, like the field area. I was like, we'll figure something out for you. And we're standing there, and he looks out across the field, and there's a great big oak tree way out in the middle of the brush and briars. And he goes, I want to camp right there. He's like, that's my new campsite. And so we walked back there, and there was nothing. I mean, it was brush and briars. And we started grabbing weed eaters and chainsaws or whatever, and he jumps in, starts dragging brush and everything, and we created him a campsite. And it just grew from there to he came down, he camped numerous times throughout the winter. I think his goal was he wanted to camp 2 or 3 times every month was his goal was, and he made it for a few years of camping like somewhere almost at least a couple times a month, which is pretty impressive. So
That's pretty cool. A lot of experiences. Kind of reminds me of when Jeff Little was driving all over the nation, boondocking everywhere last year. It looks like we have the Angler's Wisdom light on. I apologize. I've kind of been neglecting it a little bit. It's kind of hard to see it back there. I got to change that up. USA Kayak Fishing Magazine asks, you said you flew down to the tournament. Did you borrow a kayak?
No, actually, Robert Weiker's kind of my teammate. We've been traveling all last year and this year, fishing tournaments. And we drove down a couple weeks ago for a Bassmaster kayak event. And we ended up just leaving our stuff down here and parked our truck in long-term parking and flew home for a couple weeks and flew back down this past Monday. And we're flying home this coming Monday. And then we have a big RCO team event down here. Just to get together. It's a fun weekend or week of fishing before, the season kicks off, before everything gets wild and crazy for everybody.
Right.
And we come down and just spend a week as a team, learning from each other to just building that camaraderie for the shop. So,
yeah, team building is very important. I don't think there's anything better than team building on the water.
Oh, I agree.
With fishing rods.
Yep. And chasing new species. I mean, that's what kind of got it all started was we just wanted to find something different. A lot of us are bass fishermen. There's a couple catfishing guys. And it's just like, let's go after something that none of us know anything about.
Right.
So we actually, first couple of years, we hooked up with a company down here called Deep Blue Kayak Fishing. Chartered a day with them. They took us out, showed us how to catch the peacock bass. The next year we went out with them and they got us on snook, and it's all out of kayak. So it's right up our alley. We did a couple offshore trips. We actually went out, and that's who got me on that big amberjack. And so it's one of them that doing the charter, that kind of stuff, it's needed. I mean, especially if there's fish you want to chase that you really don't have a clue how to do it. Sometimes paying somebody, I mean, even like your experience, if you're in the Lake Erie area and you want to go catch walleye out of kayak, I'm calling you. So,
right.
Sometimes the education's expensive, but it's worth every penny. So.
And it's not just the education on catching the fish; it's also the education on how not to die, right?
100%.
For me,
100%.
it's we don't really have a bunch of things that are trying to kill you on Lake Erie, except for Lake Erie itself. In the ocean, there's a lot of fish that they can really make for a bad day.
Yep.
Aside from the ones that want to eat you, So I know some of those catfish can be poisonous and depending on the species, if you don't know what you're getting into, it's just safer to just hire somebody, pay for that knowledge, pay for the safety side of things. And then, after you learn, like that's with my trips, I expect people to, come out with me, learn what they need to learn, and then they go out, venture on their own.
And that's basically what these guys here do for us. They take us out once. And then hey, if you guys want to go snook fishing, you're going to go peacock fishing, go here. Or go check out this place. This is a really cool area. Go check out the Everglades. They've, Eric and Matt down there has done wonders on sending us in different directions because they're like us. I mean, like I said, the community is small, so they want us to go out and have just as good a time down here as anybody else. So,
Right.
So it's pretty neat having their blessings on where to go. So it's pretty cool.
And looks like we have another question from the Angler's Wisdom Light. But before we get to that, I just wanted to add to something to talking about, did you borrow a kayak for the tournament? When we were at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo during the Legends on the Water Kayak Fishing Roundtable, Rose was on, and she's fairly new lady bass angler on the LBAA, I believe it is. And what she does, she flies everywhere. She's got one of those Hobie, I believe it's the iTrek, the inflatable one.
The inflatable?
Just folds up in a bag. She throws it in the bag, grabs her rods, and she jumps on the plane with it. So
Yep.
That's always an option. And, at the end of the day, if you start getting involved with these tournaments, there's probably somebody local that, has a boat laying around. You can always work out a deal like that or something. In the sport, we're always trying to help each other, right?
100%. And there's several people that do a lot of that, especially if you're flying out to Texas or you're, putting in the tournaments 20-some hours from you.
Right.
Sometimes it is better just to reach out and say, hey, anybody got a boat?
Yeah, I mean, it's if you think about it, if you're just going and fishing these tournaments on the weekend, if you have a full-time job, if you're going to Texas from like Ohio, I mean, that's a 24-hour drive, right?
Yep.
So what do you got to plan? Maybe 2 days down, 2 days back, plus the tournament, the travel time, the wear and tear on the gear and the time off work. It just it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
All right, let's see what the next question is. Jay Brown says, was the peacock as crazy as guys make it out to be?
Yeah. The first peacock you hook into, if you go down, fish, hook up with Deep Blue or somebody and go out, I promise you the first peacock you hook into, it will disappoint you. And the reason I say that, because when you hook into it, you're like, oh man, I've got a monster. It's fighting, it's thrashing, it's ripping line and everything else. I mean, just giving you a fight of a lifetime. And you pull it out of the water and it's 14 inches. It's just like, this little fish should not fight anything like this. And then when you do hook into one of the bigger ones, it gets real. It gets real fun real quick. So
that kind of reminds me of the smallmouth bass on Lake St. Clair.
Mm-hmm.
You're fighting this fish and you're expecting maybe a 5-pounder, and you pull it up and it's 18 inches, maybe 16 inches. Well, probably a little bit smaller than that, because I think it was I think the biggest we caught was about 3 pounds. But maybe you can share some insight on this, because when I realized that, I'm always like, what's causing that? Why are these smallmouth fighting more than? Oh, hi Bobby. Bobby says, I miss you, but I'm so incredibly proud of you. And
I miss you too. I love you.
What makes those fish different from like creek or river fish, right? And my I guess it would be just a guess. For Lake St. Clair, smallmouth would be like they're running from giant muskie all day, right? So those fish have to be fast. They have to be powerful. And when you said that about the peacocks, now I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of big predators in the Florida waters that are probably doing the same and creating the same situation, plus the tidal waters, maybe.
They're pretty much all in really fresh water. I think a lot of it's their type of genetics. I mean, they're just a super aggressive fish. and they're a ball mussel. So it's just
And they're
it's
beautiful.
just they're what's that?
They're beautiful fish too.
Oh, they are. They're absolutely incredible. And a lot of people, when they start thinking, there's a good one. And a lot of people start thinking peacock bass. You start thinking like the Amazon peacock bass, and it's almost two different species. The Florida strain is a smaller strain. Then you get up into, I think our biggest one we caught is like 21 inches, something like that. And 21 inches, you're probably looking at like 5-6 pounds. Down in like the Amazon, they get like 50 or 60 pounds. So, but I think it's just a lot of it's their genetics and their temperament is they just don't give up.
Right.
And they go after everything with a vengeance, and then when they do get hooked, I mean, even when you got them in the net, they're fighting. I mean, they have no give up. So
what are you using to target them?
Down there, we do a lot of shiners. We do a lot of live bait for them just because it's simple. But then, you know, we throw everything from flukes to spinner baits to jackhammers. I mean, typical of bass tackle, we'll work on too. You don't catch as many, but if you want to target them, just a live shiner on a leader is pretty much the go-to.
And
So.
you know, there's no shame in using live bait, especially if you're just getting started. You know, it's a great opportunity to learn what you don't know about the fish. You know, how they feed, how they fight. You know, maybe make some mistakes, and then you can always upgrade to, like you said, the flukes, or you know, chatterbaits or something like that, or even like the what's that double fluke setup? I think it's called a gorilla rig, maybe, where you put like one of the flukes on a swivel. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I've never played with one of them before, but I bet you that would definitely work down there.
I haven't played with it enough to catch a fish on it, but I do have one tied on a rod out there.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It just kind of creates like this little bait fish action where these flukes are kind of crisscrossing. You know, it's interesting.
It's pretty cool.
You ever catch any of those clown knives?
I did not. I've had two hooked, but I've never actually been able to get one in the boat and get a picture of it. They are. They fight a lot. They got big teeth, so it's kind of you gotta be kind of careful with them. But the Reed Carpenter's got one. He's part of our team, and then Julian King is the other one that both of those two's caught one. So, but no, that's fishing the canals and stuff down here where we are. It's just wild because you catch a lot of aquarium fish. I mean, that's basically what most of these fish got in there is from people's aquariums, like the clown knife fish to cichlids to Oscars, you know, some really big Oscars, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool to the different species you may hook into. So
right, yeah, they're having an issue with the lionfish, right, out there.
That's more in the saltwater area,
right?
Yeah,
in the salt.
Yep.
Sorry,
yeah, they're another invasive species that
in you know,
there is some fresh water.
I got to get used to separating them. Just because I'm surrounded by salt or fresh water all the time, I just kind of consider it, you know, water is water.
Yep. Now down here, it's cool that there's kind of an hour drive. You can be in some of the most incredible backwoods areas, checking out monkeys and manatees and stuff like that, to fishing offshore, you know, or being on the beach, or you know, a couple hours from some of the best lakes in the country for bass fishing. So it's just, it gives you a little bit of everything down here. So,
You have any plans to chase some tarpon?
I do. I just gotta get everything to kind of come together. But now tarpon definitely would be on my go-to list. Even some like big bull reds. I think that would be a blast in a kayak. So
I got a spot for this winter. We could go get them.
all right.
And tarpon is the 2025 bucket list fish. So
There you go.
That's
pretty cool.
New kayak cushion. And he asked me what pattern. He didn't have walleye. I said, what about a tarpon? He said, tarpon. I'm like, yeah, that way to remind me that, hey, I haven't crossed it out. I need to make it happen.
Yep.
That's 2025 bucket list. But I think that's more like July time frame, right? July, August, when the big tarpon.
Yeah, I definitely know it's July. They come into like the Keys and closer down Fort Lauderdale area, that July area. So
I wonder if we'd be able to find them maybe before I cast.
I don't know.
Interesting. All right. So if someone's never tried kayak fishing before, why should they start now?
I don't know. Probably wasn't waiting for that answer, were you? No.
Definitely wasn't ready for an I don't know.
To getting into kayak fishing, it's just, for me, it was the simplicity of it. Getting away from bigger boats, getting into backwaters, getting into creeks, all that kind of stuff. If you want to be kind of secluded, kayak fishing's the way to go. Even just paddling.
Right.
It's just not just the fishing aspect of it, but just being with nature, being out in the middle of nowhere it's good for the soul. So
yeah, I think obviously it depends on the person why you would want to get into kayak fishing, but there's just so many reasons, right? We think about it and it kind of almost hits us like a Mack truck, like I don't know, because there's so many different ways it can go, right? Like me, I mean, part of the reason I kayak fish is because I don't want to spend 50,000-100,000 on a safe and reliable Lake Erie fishing boat. And the other part is I don't want to pay all the time to go fishing, fuel the tank, fix the breakdown, this, that, and the other. But there's obviously benefits to boats as well. But the other thing is just being close to the water. Like Julia, when Julia comes out, she doesn't even fish. She just loves being on the water and pedaling around, maybe taking pictures of the sunset or just enjoying yourself. And I think that's really that would probably be the best answer, right? Why would you get into kayak fishing? Well, so you can start enjoying life. Yeah.
And like you said, it's a very inexpensive way to get into it.
Oh yeah.
Or to fish, to get outdoors and stuff. A few $100 into a cheap kayak, or you can go clear up to the tournament rigs, which you can dump as much money as you want to into them.
Right.
But you don't have to have, stop and fill it up. You don't have to have a big space to park it. Because a lot of people have issues on where they can park. You'd have to rent a storage unit or a space to, park their big boat. And this right here, you can slide it in the garage.
And pretty much haul it with any vehicle on the market.
Yeah. I mean, and pick something that fits you, your budget, and your vehicle. And you don't have to have everything. You don't have to have fish finders. You don't have to have, all the latest and greatest techniques.
Right.
A couple fishing rods and a kayak and a paddle. Drew Gregory won the national championship with a couple rods, a kayak, and a paddle.
Yeah, that was the Bassmasters, right? The Bassmasters.
It was. Yep. He had no graphs, no nothing. He was in his Crescent Shoaly and went up a creek and won the tournament. So you don't have to have, all the graphs and the live scope and the motors and the thousands upon thousands of dollars into some of these rigs. You can do it as simple as you want to, or if you like electronics, if you like that aspect of it, you can go that route too. So,
yep. And it's not necessary to take out a loan or a second mortgage to fund your kayak fishing dream. I started out in a used 14-foot Wilderness Systems Pungo 140 paddle kayak. It was within budget at the time. I was just getting into kayak fishing and, wanted to try it out. It's not the best boat for my situation, but it got the job done and I absolutely loved it. So, anything that gets you on the water is a good boat. It just depends on how far you want to take it afterwards, right?
Exactly.
That's that evolution into kayak fishing when you wake up with a fleet of kayaks or maybe with a whole shop.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes too. Now, I try to tell everybody, if you are going to buy a kayak, if you're going to get into kayak fishing or even just wreck, buy your second boat first.
Right.
And the reason I say that is there's some big box store boats, that kind of stuff. I see so many people that, I hate kayaking. It's so uncomfortable, and my boat flipped over, and I wasn't stable in it, and all these other excuses. And you start talking to them, it's just like they bought something that wasn't comfortable, that wasn't fitted for them, and they went out and had a horrible experience, and then they never wanted to do it again. And even to the flip side, we had a gentleman came to our shop. He was a large guy, and he brought his family in. I think the first year he came in, he had 5 or 6, maybe 7 people with him, something like that. And he paid for all of them, and we was loading up stuff. And he went over and was sitting in his truck. I said, "Buddy, why aren't you going out?" He's like, "Oh, I'm too big." He's like, "We went to a place and they actually see him down in the middle of a canoe by himself and tried to see him down a river." It was just like, how embarrassing. I mean, he wasn't like overly overweight. He was just a big guy. And so we ended up grabbing a kayak, one of our bigger boats, took it down, stuck him on the creek, and I was like, "Hey, come down, let's try it. Let's get you on the water. Let's see if you're comfortable in it." He came down, paddled in our creek for a few minutes, and you could just see the joy on the, hey, I can do this and not
reality.
Yeah, and not be embarrassed about it or any of this.
Right.
And since then, he's came back the last few years, and his family just keeps growing. He brings everybody, and so it's pretty cool to let people know that it doesn't matter if you're, small, skinny, tall, whatever. There's a boat for you. You just have to find it and have somebody willing to give you the education and also the chance to get on the water. So
1,000%, and you were with me at the Cleveland Boat Show when we were testing the capacity of some of these bigger boats, and even the Native Titan X. I mean, I'm not overly big guy. I'm about 170, 175, 6 foot. So I had to grab 2 other people to get the weight capacity, to test up a
That you
little bit.
needed. Yep.
But I mean, anybody can get out on the water. I even have clients that, they're in their 70s getting into kayak fishing.
There is.
That's awesome for me. Just like that situation, here's a guy that he's seeing everybody else have fun, and he feels like, I can't do this, or it's going to be very embarrassing, uncomfortable. And with the evolution of kayak fishing and these rigs, I mean, it opens up the possibilities for that, to get these people on the water and actually allow them to enjoy it. That's what it's about.
And there's a boat for anybody. Like you said, even like with the elderly, you get people up into 70s, 80s, even older, and they don't want a big heavy boat. So I mean, there's boats out there that are like the A-Line, the Caribbean. It's 12 foot long, and it weighs like 49 pounds, 45 pounds, or something like that. I mean, you can handle it even without putting a lot of muscle strain, that kind of stuff, to get it into your truck or out of your vehicle and into the water. So there's so many options out there anymore, and so many just incredible brands of kayaks that there's something for anybody.
Yeah. And, that's why it's so important to go check out somebody like Raccoon Creek Outfitters and talk to Dustin. That way, they can kind of break everything down and you can figure out what the best boat is for you. Because, at the end of the day, they're like golf clubs. My favorite golf club is probably going to be totally different than your favorite golf club, depending on where you're playing golf.
Yep. And that goes for anybody in the country. I mean, go to a local dealer, go to a couple of shops if you have to. Travel a little bit. I hear so often that, there's no dealer close to me. And you look up their kind of where they're located at. It's just like there's 3 shops within a couple hours of you. I mean, there might not be one in your town, but spend a weekend. Say, hey, I'm going to drive 4 hours down to this shop and demo boats, hang out. I'm going to take the wife and the family and everybody out, spend the night in the hotel or something like that. Make an evening of it or a weekend of it if you have to.
Yep.
But
make it adventure, and that gives you that opportunity to build the relationship with the shop and also, check out their paradise.
Yep. Yeah, it's worth the trips to go to good kayak shops. And on top of it, if you don't know what you're looking for, those are the type of shops that, for lack of better terms, are professionals.
100%.
I see people post online, hey, I'm such and such size. What kayak should I get? And it's funny because you see every manufacturer, brand, style. It's just like nobody asks the question, what kind of water you're going to be on. Right. Nobody asks the question, what you're wanting it for. I mean, it's just like, I'm in this boat. This is what you need. Yep. So definitely go to your local shop. No matter where you're at, go find a shop that specializes in what you want, and they'll get you on the water.
And it's going to be worth the drive. If you're unfamiliar and you need some recommendations, you can reach out to somebody like Dustin or I, or somebody else in the industry. We're all just here to help, and we want you to have the absolute best experience possible, because, that's when you get to see the true passion and the true enjoyment in the sport. Unfortunately, it's not like the old days where it was fairly affordable to be in business. And, maybe there was certain stores on every corner of, every block. But anymore, it's so hard to survive that, sometimes you do have to take that 2-3 hour drive. But it's important, and it's going to be worth it, because you get to touch the boat. You get recommendations, like you said, from professionals, people that are, going to ask you the important questions, not just be quick to spit out, a certain kayak or a certain platform or any of that without having, the real facts to go off of.
Yeah.
And you're going to have that relationship. So on the backside, they're all just plastic boats at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what manufacturer, it's just a plastic boat. So, on the backside, having that dealer that you have that relationship with, that you supported, if anything happens with any manufacturer, with any boat, they're going to be the ones to go to bat for you,
Yep.
So, and you never know when you meet your next best friend.
That's it, for sure.
So how can people find you?
We're located down near Athens, Ohio. The best way to find me or find us is actually on Facebook. We use Facebook as a pretty big platform for us. So that's kind of the best route. If people have questions or any of that kind of stuff, they can always jump on, send us a message. It's under Raccoon Creek Outfitters. It's simple to find us. So,
and I would say, just because I remember asking you a while back, there is 2 Raccoon Creek Outfitters pages, one of which, oops, that's the wrong page.
and so yeah, we lost somehow or another a couple years ago. We lost our page, and we've never been able to re-access it. So we had to start over from scratch. So
yeah, so if you're looking for them on Facebook, this is the one that you're going to look for.
Yes, yep.
And obviously, if you can't remember, just check the posts. They'll have something.
All the most recent stuff. Yeah,
that's going to be the best way to keep up with, like your opening season events and all that other stuff. And you can always go to RaccoonCreekOutfitters.com or give Dustin a call. Their number is 740-698-0000. And you can follow Dustin Hoy on Facebook and Instagram, I believe.
definitely. Yep. Yeah, I'm on both. So yeah, and if people have questions about kayaks or any of that stuff, I get questions on a regular basis about, this or that. Definitely send me a message. I mean, I'm always, willing to help out anybody, no matter where you're at. Even if you just want somebody to put you in connections with somebody.
Yeah.
I've known dealers all over Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, actually a little bit of everywhere. Actually, I've been in the industry long enough that I know a lot of people. So, I can definitely kind of help people out. So,
like you said, it's a very small industry, and generally we all at least get together once a year at ICAST, if not, the rest of the shows. So, doesn't matter where you're at. We probably know somebody or the right people that'll get you dialed in. Awesome. Well, before I let you off the hook, we're going to reel you back in for one last piece of angler's wisdom.
All right. What you got?
But don't worry, it's a catch and release kind of question. If you had to choose 1 or 2 key pieces of angler's wisdom, whether something you learned through experience or a valuable lesson passed down to you, what would it be? And why do you think they're so important for other anglers to hear?
One of my biggest things, enjoy life. On the water, off the water, it doesn't matter. Life is short.
Yep.
So, as an angler, my piece is on the water. It's part of it's about catching that next fish, but also I take so many pictures of birds and wildlife around, and all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to take in everything about it. It's all about the experience and the adventure. So, yeah, it's definitely probably one of my biggest things that I could tell people, even as an angler, tournament angler, don't lose the fun and the passion for it, because so many people get into it and they dive in. Oh, I'm gonna become a professional, and I'm gonna get all these sponsors, and I'm gonna make all this money, and I'm just gonna fish for a living. The reality of it is, there's not very many people doing that. I mean, probably a very small handful that has actually made it to the point that they live off of fishing.
Right.
So keep that in the back of your mind, that just enjoy it. And if you're not having fun, figure out why.
That could be probably the best piece of angler's wisdom. At the end of the day, sometimes we let certain things bother us, right? And one of the worst things is, like letting a missed fish or a broken fishing rod or anything just ruin your day on the water. Like you said, it's important just to take a second and realize, like, what am I doing here? Why am I out here? I'm out here to have fun, right? Like I always look at these guys getting agitated at the boat ramps at each other, and I'm like, guys, we're fishing.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Give him a couple of seconds. He's struggling. No big deal. I've had
give him a
clients
hand.
that have lost gear, overboard, and they look at me, and you could tell it just ruined their day. And I'm like, no. Don't worry about that, man. We'll worry about that when we get off the water. Like, that's the cost of doing business. Let's get back to catching fish.
Yep.
So remembering, like, why you're out there. And for me, I've caught enough fish. I love fishing. I absolutely love fishing. I love everything about it. I could talk about it 24/7. But it's not just about the fish. It's enjoying the day on the water, the scenery. Sometimes you see just a bald eagle fly over, or something that you've never seen, just something that takes your breath away. That's why we're out there. So thank you for that. That was an awesome piece of angler's wisdom. What was that Manny said? There was a question. There we go. Manny said, truly spoken, Dustin, 100%. I made that mistake when I started. Lost the love for kayak fishing, chasing all the wrong things.
Yep. It's easy to do. I was there myself. My wife is my voice of reason. She's called me more than once in the middle of a tournament and says, hey, get out of your head. And it's just like, and I do. That competitive side of you kicks in. It's just like, oh, I lost a big one. I lost, and I broke this, and this ain't going right. And then next thing you know, it's just that snowball effect. It's just all downhill, and having somebody to have your back that kind of will call you and say, hey, get out of your head, figure it out, and get back to having fun. Go catch some fish. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's fishing. It's not about anything else. It's fishing. So
exactly,
the rest is a bonus.
Awesome.
And we get to experience stuff that a lot of people never get to experience. Locations to, like you said, seeing new things, catching unbelievable fish, to just having fun with friends. So, and making memories. So
you never know who you're going to meet on the water at the boat ramp, or, you never know. Maybe you need to rescue somebody, or they need to rescue you.
Yep.
There's so many incredible things that come from fishing and, the art of fishing. when you think about that stuff, it makes the fact of catching fish that much less important, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Well, it's been a great episode, Dustin. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on before we head off?
First of all, man, I just want to do kind of a quick round of thanks that you guys for having me on. It's always good hollering at you and talking with you a little bit. And all my support. Everything from my absolutely incredible wife and kids and my granddaughter. If it wasn't for those guys, it'd be really, really hard to do this without having them kind of pushing you and, cheering you on from the background. Those guys definitely are a huge part of why I'm able to do this. So, and then my sponsors, Bonafide Kayaks definitely is a big sponsor of mine. They take care of me, get me on the water. Venom Lures, unfortunately, is kind of leaving us, but Dustin and his crew has been great with always supporting me and my adventures with tackle and making sure I got the right stuff in the right place. So, and everybody else. So, and the Raccoon Creek team, everybody from the shop guys to all of our fishing guys and our extended family that goes with that. I mean, our team is pretty massive. So it's pretty cool to see everybody's names and stuff kind of popping up on here and making comments. So definitely thank all those guys for tuning in, watching, and kind of supporting us and what we do, what we love. So
absolutely, that's very important. And Jeff Little mentioned something we completely forgot to talk about. If you are near Dustin, he rigs kayaks as well. So not only can you get your kayak there, he's done some pretty cool rigs, including I think I just seen Bonafide XTR 130 that you just did.
We've done a few now, 5 or 6, fully rigged out with motors, fish grinders, graphs, you name it. A couple of them turned out some pretty wild stuff. So the shop guys and myself, Robert and everybody that jumps in kind of helps us all out. Does an absolutely phenomenal job on making it look probably some of the most impressive kayaks on the market or out there, but also some of the cleanest. I mean, making sure everything's all tucked in, you don't see wires laying out everywhere. And so it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of guys that take pride in their work. And, it doesn't matter what you want out of a kayak. If it's just something as simple as, a charging port or some lights or something like that, to a machine that has a bow mount and a stern mount and maybe 3 graphs. And, like if you dream,
it is whatever.
It is possible.
Exactly. So there's actually a kayak, just a quick little view of what we might be working on here soon is one of the new Bonafide XTRs with the power pull move on the front.
Oh, nice.
And maybe a couple of the power pull spikes off the back. They're actually the talons like you see on the bass boat. So it's going to be interesting.
And that platform has a spot for 2 talons, right? 2 of the micro pulls.
Well, we're not going micro. We're actually going full stake or full spike.
So you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
That
could be something. That could be something in the future. That could have some really cool videos coming out here real soon about. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see if it all comes together. So
I'm sure it will. It just depends on how long you have to keep working until it does, right?
That's it. So
Dwight says, good luck this weekend. Let's see a 23.
23 incher. That's kind of our goal. That's the bass we're looking for. So
nice.
Dwight, appreciate it, buddy.
Awesome. Well, Dustin, I wish you the best this weekend. I hope you have an incredible tournament and create some memories. Maybe cash a check, catch a fish of a lifetime, and make it back home to Ohio. Hopefully bring some warm weather with you.
I'm going to put some in my pocket for you, buddy. So
awesome.
We'll melt that lake off.
Hey, I hope so. It's killing me. I might have to go ice fishing.
There you go. You should. I've spent some time out there, so
maybe. I did just get a one of the Vexlar underwater cameras. I got it more for open water and checking out spots and stuff like that. But I don't know. I might have to go hit some ice and just drop it through.
Just see what you see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining the show. We hope you found some insight shared today as valuable and inspired as we did. Remember, every great angler knows that learning never stops. There's always something new to discover and improve on. If you enjoyed today's If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your fellow anglers. And don't forget, fishing is life, but safety comes first. And I definitely butchered that. I am not very good at reading from a script, but we'll get the new outro dialed in.
As I say, you did well.
Next Thursday, we have a show that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Super excited about this show. We're bringing on a guy that I really look up to. It's definitely a guy that I consider a hero of mine. We're bringing on Darcy Egan. He's a legendary outdoor writer from the Plain Dealer for the last 40 years. I believe he's been writing for the Plain Dealer in the outdoor space, as well as many other articles. So on top of being a writer, he's been around a lot of the things that we've experienced here locally in the Central Basin of Lake Erie. So really looking for a really good deep dive, and that will be in person. So Darcy will be joining us in studio, and we're gonna see if we can pull off the first in-person Anglers Wisdom podcast. So
there we go.
We
always got goals.
What's that?
So always have goals.
Oh yeah. If what you're doing doesn't scare you, then you're not doing something big enough, right?
Exactly.
It gets to the point where like you almost crave the being afraid and being like nervous. All right, guys.
Good stuff.
We'll see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Anglers Wisdom Podcast. Thank you for joining us today on the Anglers Wisdom Podcast. We hope you got some good insight out of the show and learned something new. Don't forget to go over to ampedoutdoors.com and support the title sponsor of the show. Follow them on social media and just show them some love. And lastly, head over to LakeErieKayakFishing.com and check out all the many resources as well as opportunities to book an unforgettable Lake Erie kayak fishing adventure with yours truly. You can also get yourself a Lake Erie kayak fishing gift card to the obsessed angler in your life. And remember, fishing is life, but safety comes first. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next Thursday live on the Anglers Wisdom Podcast.
Oh, yeah! Yeah!
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah!